Okay, we get started first. Official recording for the Real Life Real Talk. We talking school and life, y'all, with Dr. Barros. Here we go. Welcome to Schooling Life, where we have real talk about real life. I'm Dr. Maritsa Barros, and this isn't your typical self-help podcast, y'all. You're not going to hear any boring jargons, toxic positivity, just raw, unfiltered conversations with everyday people who have dared to redefine success and own their truth. Oh yeah, I'm excited. Because think of this as edutainment for the soul, okay? Stories that educate, empower, and electrify. Whether you're in your 20s, battling imposter syndrome, a midlifer rewriting the rules, a marginalized voice, tired of being sidelined, this is your classroom. hmm And today's lesson, I'm excited, y'all. Today we are talking redefining success, resisting burnout, and reclaiming your cultural power. Trust me, you're not going to find this syllabus at any institution. So, yes, thank you so much for dropping in. Welcome, Dr. Terza Lima-Neves. I'm so excited to have you as my very first special guest here
Oh
on
my
Schooling
goodness.
Life.
Yes.
Yes.
Good
And
morning.
now good morning, and welcome. Let me tell the people a little bit about who you are. I don't want to talk without them seeing your beautiful face so they know who I'm talking about. Some people know and some people don't. So I want
Right.
to reintroduce, but certainly introduce you to those who haven't met your amazing spirit yet. Dr. Lima Nez is a trailblazing scholar, y'all. She is a community advocate and co-founder of the transformative Poderoza Conference. Traveling from Cabo Verde, she relocated as a teenager and has since dedicated her life to amplifying the voices of marginalized communities, especially the inspiring, often underrepresented narratives of Cabo Verdean women. And I have to even train myself to say it that way because that is the official name of the island. It's not Cape
Correct.
Verde. It is
Correct.
Cabo Verde.
Say that. Say
All
that.
right. Yes. So her groundbreaking scholarship on intersectional feminism and her unwavering commitment to creating inclusive spaces have redefined what success truly means. Dr. Lima Nev's work, highlighted by her Harvard Leadership Fellowship and her impactful advocacy with Kiala's Poderosas, is a masterclass in unlearning societal limits and embracing the power of one's true self. Dr. Lima-Nev's journey is a masterclass in turning struggle into strategy, proving that resilience is not just survival, y'all. It's about rewriting the rules. And she's living it, and I'm so excited for y'all to hear a bit of her journey today. Today, we're here to explore just that, her journey, the lessons she's learned, and how she continues to inspire change, not only in academia, but activism and beyond. Dr. Lima Neves, thank you for being here. And again, thank you for
Thank
being my very first
you.
special guest.
I'm excited. I'm honored. Good. I gotta have you write my bio. That was so good. I was like, hold on a second. Why
I,
does your introduction sound better than my own bio?
because I wanted to give you all your flowers.
Oh,
It's
received
often
right
some.
in my heart. They're in my heart. I appreciate you.
Yes, yes, because it's often hard sometimes to see the true greatness in ourselves, and that reminder of how others see you and all the things you've done. You've probably like forgotten some of it as well, right? And that's just a
Yeah.
slight bit of what
Yeah,
you've
I'm
accomplished.
just
So,
yeah, I think we do that a lot. I just be over here in Charlotte, North Carolina, living my life and just doing
hmm
the things that I think that I was put on this earth to do that I'm passionate about. And sometimes you just forget to sit down and just like, wow, I did do that, huh? That's crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, incredible. So let's dive in, right?
Let's do
But
it.
before we dive into your journey, let's start with where you are now. Okay, you're a
Yes.
Harvard fellow, co-founder of the groundbreaking Poderoza Conference, and a leading voice for Cape Verdean women globally. So Cabo Verdean women, globally rather, if you had to give our listeners a snapshot of the work you're doing now and what you're most proud of in this chapter, what would that look like?
Wow. So, well, like I said, I'm based in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm currently on a much needed and deserved sabbatical. For those of you who don't
Mm-hmm.
know, for, my day to day job, I'm a college professor at Johnson C. Smith University. I've been there for 15 years. I'm a full professor. Um, I'm tenured, which means that they can't fire me unless I do some real crazy. But so that sabbatical is something, for those of you who don't know, is something that you can apply for as a professor once you've dedicated enough years of service or have been at the particular university for a particular amount of time or whatever job, because there are corporate jobs that actually have sabbaticals. And you can apply,
Mm-hmm.
some schools allow you to apply for 1 year, some schools allow you to apply for 1 semester. So I've been on sabbatical. I just felt that after publishing 2 books and just doing a lot, doing the Poderoza Conference, I not only needed but deserved a break. And so normally you take the sabbatical to either do further research or to pursue something that you don't have the time to do because you're a full-time professional. And so I've been really, where I'm at right now is I've been really honing in on the idea of rest and taking care of myself mentally and physically. So I've been really literally sitting down with that idea. So that's where I am in Charlotte, North Carolina, in a beautiful sunny day, just focusing on myself because as women, we give so much to others, particularly those
Mm-hmm.
of us who are married and have children. And then sometimes most of the time, we don't. We're an afterthought, to ourselves, and so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm chilling.
That's great. That's great. After much hard work and much deserved time, right? And who knows what this time of exploration and rest is going to allow you to have the clarity and vision, right? Expand your vision or reimagine what the
Absolutely.
future.
And particularly for Poderoza, I have to say, if I'm being honest, I'm not just it's hard for me to just sit around. So what's happening is that
Yeah.
Poderoza is it's going to be the 10th year. Poderoza has been around since 2016. The first conference was in
Mm-hmm.
2016 in Providence, Rhode Island, and so the next conference is next March. And so the wheels are turning. The wheels are turning on the 10th anniversary of Poderoza. So I wanted to start early with my team, and
Yeah.
so we're doing that. We're starting to plan and concoct the plans to
Mhm.
make it the best Poderoza yet.
And that rest is going to contribute to that planning for sure,
Listen,
right?
absolutely, absolutely.
So, so for the listeners who are new to your work, can you share what Poderoza, and I know, and just like, let's talk Poderoza first, but then what does the Poderoza conference mean and why it's central to your mission?
Sure. Um, so Poderoza, its full name is the International Conference on Cabo Verdean Women. It's not just for Cabo Verdean women. Uh, it's we are the platform, we are the center, we are the topic, and it's a biennial conference because to plan something of that magnitude that brings together over 250 people from all over the world, that's no small and easy feat. And
Mm-hmm.
when Amina and I, for those of you who don't know, Dr. Amina Fernandes Pilgrim, historian, noted Cape Verdean community advocate, she's based in Massachusetts. When we sat down at a coffee shop in 2015 to plan this thing out and to start thinking about it, what it was before it was named Poderosa, we both realized that as mothers and as scholars, as university professors, um, we were very passionate about putting together Cape Verdean. And forgive me when I
Mm-hmm.
talk fast, I say Cape Verde, so I apologize. Or I go into
No worries.
Creole, and I go into Creole and I say Cape Verde real quick.
And
So
that's okay too.
right, and so when we dreamed up the conference, we knew that it was we wanted something special. We didn't want just a
Mhm.
something. And that's when we decided that it would be every 2 years, because that would give us plenty of time to
Mhm.
plan a robust conference that our community deserved, that Criolage deserved. And so it's massive. It's beautiful. I know people wish we did it every year, but I strongly believe that if we did it every year, it wouldn't have the impact that it does now, because we would be
Yeah.
finishing a conference and then we would have to start planning the other one, just because I don't do half work. It's either I do
Right.
it the right way, I go home, or I don't do it at
Yes.
all. So that's why it's biannual. And a lot of people have asked, why don't we do it every year? And that's the honest truth.
Well, that's because you leave us wanting more, right? Last year
And
was
that's
my
why it
first
comes
year.
that's why every year the attendance goes
Yeah.
higher, because we come with a vengeance. So it's like,
Waited. Yeah.
people, every year pop the admit like the number of people that show up, it grows. Because it's massive
But let
like
me
that.
ask you, it's massive because it draws people. It has a connection that Criolla, regardless if she was born in the U.S., Cape Verde, or anywhere around the world, she can relate. So why Poderosa though?
So the original name was just plain boring International Conference on Cabo Verdean Women, um, which I have to mention. We
Mm,
stand on the shoulders of the wonderful founders, mostly women, of the Common Threads conference that happened in DC before Poderosa in the early to mid 2000s. The Common Threads was the first. Was Let me just say, I think it was the first major conference that brought together hundreds of Cape Verdeans in Washington D.C., and our culture was on display at the Smithsonian. It was beautiful. I was still in graduate school,
mm-hmm.
and so we stand on the shoulders of common threads and all those women like Dr. Donna Thomas, Dr. Claire Andrade Watkins, Gunga Tavares. So all of these amazing women, they're the ones, and there are more.
Mm-hmm.
So we stand on their shoulders. So it was just International Conference on Cape Verdean Women, but I'm going to give a shout out to José Monteiro, also known as Chocanti, major hip hop artist
Mm-hmm.
in our community.
Yes.
He brought Amina and I together. So I met him and I told him about this idea, this crazy idea about a conference, that I wanted to, we had symposiums, we had conferences about the community, but I wanted something specifically for us, for the Criollas. And he said, I got somebody I need you to meet like right away. And that's when I met Amina. Poderoza, the name came to be because Shokanti at the time was very active in the art world. I mean, he continues to be, but he had the first exhibit at the Brockton Library
Mm.
of Criolage artwork.
Artwork.
And
I remember that.
do you? Wow! And
Mm-hmm.
so that uh, that exhibit was called Poderosa, and
Oh,
so it
okay.
came from that. He said, "Why don't y'all call it Poderosa?" And
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, we can do that." So I think it's really
That works.
interesting. It's really interesting that a Cabo Verdean man, a Creole,
Yes.
who a self-prescribed feminist, helped us come up with the name of the conference. So,
I love that.
and who helped us design the first flyer for the conference and the second flyer. I mean, Shokanti was very involved from the very beginning, and I'm always so thankful for him for introducing me to Amina. And as you know, the rest
Mm-hmm.
is history. So
The rest is
we
history.
we just wanted a place where we were centered, that we were loved,
Mm-hmm.
that we were going to hug on one another. We didn't want a pretentious academic space. Like when you hear
Yeah.
conference, you think of like people in suits and talking about important things
Yes.
and doctor this and doctor that. Like, don't get me wrong, like I worked for that degree, but that day I'm Terza, Amina's Amina,
Mm-hmm.
and we're dancing. Like we have a DJ. Like if you have a Cape Verdean space that doesn't have music, then I'm looking at you funny because music is such an important part of of who we are.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was just this amazing, huge party from 9 o'clock in the morning until 5:30 at night, where we ate, we danced, we hugged each other, we learned, and
Mm-hmm.
the younger people,
That's valid.
I remember like the young Criolines was like, they were like, wow, I've never seen this
Mm-hmm.
many, excuse my French, this many badass Criollas in one room. Because they were meeting
Yes.
lawyers and they were meeting entrepreneurs. They were meeting Alzadina Gomes,
I'm getting chills.
the jewelry maker. Like
Yeah.
it's like, you know, I get goosebumps just talking about it because
Yes.
the feedback was crazy of like people who
Crazy.
didn't know like, wow, I didn't know there were Cape Verdean PhDs. I didn't know there were Cape Verdean medical doctors. And
Listen,
so
this
that
is
was the
society needs to get on a. I'm like, I need to. As soon as that's like, oh, the save the date is out, right?
it is
Oh,
March
we need
7th, girl. March
we
7th.
gotta get this to start in organization schools and bring your girls, bring the Criollas because they need just to even be present
You
in
need to
all of
be in
that you're
that
describing.
space. You need to be
Yeah.
in that space. And people have also asked us why we don't do a virtual component. And I say, because to experience
It's in
Poderosa,
the
you need to be
room.
in the room. You
Yes.
need to be in the room to experience Poderosa for what we designed it to be, what we envisioned it to be. There are a lot of
Mm-hmm.
conferences that are virtual. Ours is just not one of them, and that's okay.
No, and that's okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes it's
Yeah.
okay to stay true. Um, but let me tell you, like UMass CVSA was in the house, UMass Amherst, Cape Verdean Student Association was in the house, Rhode Island College was in the house.
Hey, you're not
Um,
starting too, right?
Heck yeah, from the beginning,
I'm an
Dartmouth was
alum
in.
of UMass
I
Dartmouth.
peeped that. I peeped that right from the so UMass Dartmouth was in the house.
Yeah.
Rhode Island College, University of Rhode Island. They stay in the house every conference. So the
Listen, so
the young folks are
tell
in
them
there.
that you are right this year to get ready. Y'all need some extra rooms, you know.
I'm telling
Listen.
it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. All the
Yeah.
vendors, all the exhibitors, the nonprofits. And for people, I get people that say all the time, Cape Verdeans don't have this, the community. We don't have this, we don't have that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but have you looked though? Have you looked?
Yeah.
Because I beg to
Yes.
differ. I know when, we don't stick together in alliance. We don't have, I was like, yeah, but I have another experience to tell you about.
That's right.
And so
That's right.
sometimes we often say things, and just because we haven't experienced them doesn't mean that they don't exist.
They don't
You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes
yes.
you got to do a little research, and I mean that's
And
what
it's
I did during my graduate years.
yeah,
I was
exactly.
unearthing everything that had to do with Cape Verdean women. So that's where I was.
Yes, no, we appreciate it, and you're pouring into Poderosas is absolutely necessary, and your work is so deeply tied to your roots, of course, right? So let's rewind a little bit as to like where it all began. Um, take us back to Cabo Verde. What was
Sure.
it like growing up there, and how did relocating shape your resilience and identity?
Oof. Um, gosh. Um, I had to pause for a second because that
Yeah, because
move
we're taking it back.
that move yeah, and it got me thinking because that move was like it ended up it was like brutal after I think about it. As an adult, when I think about it, that move was brutal, even though it didn't feel like it in the beginning, at the time. But I'm just a simple girl from Ribeirabot in São Vicente,
Mhm.
who moved to United States as a teenager. I had a very happy childhood. I'm not even gonna hold you. I um
Mhm.
I lived down the street from my grandmother's house. So my school was right across the street from my house, my elementary school. I'm still in touch with my first teacher, who
Wow.
I talk about in my TEDx talk, but we can talk about that later. because I
Mhm.
talk about compassion in education, and she was the first person to show me compassion and my first teacher. And so she taught me how to read and write. And anyhow, so we're still good friends. She still corrects my Portuguese, you know. But I had, just playing playing soccer, football, handball with my friends. My friends that I still have till this day. Whenever I go back home, we connect, we go out, Um, so I had a really great life, just very simple. My dad worked abroad, he worked on the ship like many Cape Verdeans in Holland,
Mhm.
and then came back home every few months. So I'm very connected to Cape Verde because to my particular neighborhood, because one, my grandmother, my aunts, well, and my parents, because they moved back to Cape Verde after they retired, they're there. So I'm always
Mhm.
home. I actually, met my husband there, then he moved to the US. So, but then I also feel that I say that it was brutal because the move was
Mhm.
because nobody asked me if I wanted to come to the US. Like I was a kid,
Mhm.
like in true Cape Verdean fashion. Nobody said, "Hey, let's sit at the table and have a family conversation." Like it wasn't like that. It was just like, "Oh, your mom's going to Praia. She's gonna go get a visa, and then we're just moving." And so that's how it happened. I just felt like I was yanked.
Yanked,
I was
yeah.
yanked from a life that I really loved, from the normalcy of like friendships and school and playing sports and playing in the dirt and just all of that. And then coming here, where most of the time you were home and you go to school and you don't know too many people. And so, as a teenager, as you know, with all those hormones and attitudes that we have, that was tough.
Mhm.
So, that was tough
Mhm.
for me. Of course, there was a little bit of that excitement about coming to the US, but I recognize my privilege in that I had a really good life in Cape Verde. I'm not saying I had all the things, but I didn't need all the things. All I needed
Right.
was my friends, the freedom to just leave my house, go down to my grandmother's house, go to the store if they needed me to go buy a pound of sugar and a pound of potatoes and
Mhm.
a liter of oil or whatever it may be. That was like I was free. I was independent. I could move around. And coming to the US,
Mhm.
freedom was restricted. You couldn't be out and about like that. And so it
Nope.
was an adjustment. It was an adjustment to say the least.
And do you attest it that experience in shaping your resiliency and identity in any major ways?
Um, yes, because I always felt like I was working towards going back to Cape Verde. I literally said, I'm doing all of this. This is cute and all, but when I become an adult, I'm going home
Going back, yes.
because this ain't it.
Very quickly.
Obviously things changed, things changed and, I built my own community of friends here. But
Mhm.
I had to stay resilient in the way that I think, going to going to school for the first time here, going to middle school here, and high school, and learning English, and so just all the difficulties, all the challenges that brought up was really okay. So I just need to do this for these many years so I can go back home. Like, so that
Yeah.
continued to be the focus. Like, I think that I kept up my strength and did what I had to do because I seriously thought I was going back home.
That motivation, that why kept you focused and
Yeah,
going.
absolutely. So, and then of course it transitioned to, you know, maybe I don't have to go back home like to stay, but I
Mhm.
can help development at home and I can make sure to create the kind of life that I need to
Mhm.
go back as often as I can, as I want to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
as you want to.
absolutely. So then, the shifts began to happen. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. What would you say is a cultural tradition? So thinking about all the goodness from your upbringing. Just talk about a cultural tradition or value from your upbringing that still anchors you in your work today.
Um, I think it's hard to talk about it in general. So, a
Mhm.
culture. This is my family's culture, right? Because it's hard to say this particular thing is Cape Verdean culture. I think it's more like
Yeah.
Cape Verdean cultures because I think that there's
Culture.
different cultures, and culture is never the same. Cultures, Cabral taught us
Yeah.
that culture is forever changing. But one thing that has remained the same has been the audacity of the women in my family.
Mm.
I'll say it in Creole, like, que atrevimento de menininhas de Ribeirão. Nós é atrevida, that's what they call us. But we're audacious. We just there's something that I learned about my aunts, that I learned from my aunts, that drives my work is to assert
Mhm.
myself in spaces. My aunts they were athletes. They played for local and national handball and basketball team, and actually soccer too. So I followed them everywhere. So I learned about resilience and the strength of women from just following them around. Like every time they were ready to go to a game, I'm right behind them. And they used to be like, "Where are you going? Did you tell your mom you were going with us?"
Mhm.
Yes, and that's a lie. Um, but I just knew that I'd be safe. But I just thought
Yeah.
it was so cool. To me, it was so cool that they were athletes. So
Mhm.
to me that was my own family cultural tradition of like
Yeah.
not only being fit but playing sports. And I carried that here. I played sports as, just basketball and soccer as soon as I got here. And so not only did it teach me about the value of valuing your body, right? And taking
Mhm.
care of your
Mhm.
body, but it also gave me like the strength of like other people are watching you play the sport and you're scoring. Something about it does something to your self-esteem that I thought was like pretty badass. And
Yeah.
that's how I saw my aunts. I saw them as leaders in my community because people sat in the stands and watched them play and cheered them on. And so
Mhm.
from the very beginning, I thought that I'm like, gosh, the women in my family are very powerful. And I must
Yeah.
I must do that. I must do that. And so that's why sports was important to me. My aunts were also very outspoken. Um, so that was amazing to me too. And as you could tell, it rubbed off on me.
Yeah.
Because I don't mince my words for anything. Another more basic one that I think is there might be countrywide is the tradition of eating at the table together.
Mm.
So Sunday through Thursday, myself, my husband, and our children, we eat together at the table. Like there's no phones, there's no nothing, there's no TV. We're sitting at the table and we're eating. Um,
Mhm.
um, we thank the person that prepared the food. Most of the time, it's my husband. Um,
Oh,
he's the
nice.
he's the cook. Hey, let me clear this up. I can cook. I can cook. I cook. I mean, I can
We
make.
don't doubt you. We don't doubt you.
Okay. So I just want to make sure we're clear about that. It's just,
Yes.
I like to cook, but my baby loves to cook. He is
Yes.
creative. Like that's his ministry. It's not mine.
Yes.
So
Yes.
just whatever works in your family. And what works for us is like Luis is he loves it. I just like it, but I love his cooking.
Yes.
So we sit at the table, and as we say in Creole, no te pôr assunto em dia. We talk about what happened at school, what's like with our lives, what's going on. So the four of us sit down and we chat it up. And then Friday and
Mm.
Saturday is just a day to just like, hey, fend for yourself. And thankfully, our kids can cook, so we taught our kids how to cook early on, so they could, be
Mhm.
self-sufficient. And so
Right.
Friday and Saturday, everybody take care. You take care of yourselves, but eating together, I think, keeps the family together. in many
together.
aspects.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that both, right? Because it's that value, that permission, that empowerment you've got just from modeling and seeing models around you to put yourself in there. Just do it. Like fight past any resistance, even though they probably didn't verbally say that to you, but you get to
correct.
see them live that way. And then that tradition of you, even though it's a lot, you've always putting yourself somewhere. You got to slow it down, right? So this
Absolutely.
tradition of at the table and eating, I love that. I just want
And so two things there. One thing is I strongly believe that representation matters. So my
to.
aunts didn't
Mm-hmm.
have to sit me down and tell me anything about you need to play sports because these are the reasons you need
Right.
to play sports. They just played sports. They just did it. Sometimes I think that it's important that we just model behavior
New model. Yes.
instead of like telling the kids or the younger generation or whatever, if we want them to do something or to be something, just do it and let them
Right.
watch. Let them
Exactly.
watch you doing it, right? So lead by example. So I think this is definitely a case of like representation matters at work.
Yeah.
Because when I saw my aunts and their friends playing sports, I'm like, I want to be like that, right? And
Yeah.
then with
Yeah. And that dropping that seed of being active, that is so. I can't say I
absolutely,
had that, and I'm seeing the results. the fight, the fight to unlearn that conditioning is
listen,
is difficult. Yeah.
but I think, I don't know about you, but life be lifing and I definitely don't play sports the way I used to. I watch it more than I play now. Like I love basketball and all of that. But because
Right.
life just happens and some you just don't have the time that you used to have. So that's one thing. That the other thing too, I say is that the cultural tradition, because at home my parents we ate together all the time, whether in Cape Verde or here in the US. We sat down, we ate. But I would say that that repetition and that scheduling helps to keep our family together. I'll tell you something,
True.
my kids, if it's like 6:05, my kids are looking at me funny, like, girl, it's dinner time, where's dinner? Like if dinner's not at the table, and it's 6:05 p.m. because we eat strictly between 6 and 6:15. Everybody's at the table. So it's like 6:05
Mm-hmm.
and things. They were like, okay, so what are we doing? Because they've learned that that's the family tradition. That's our routine.
Routine. Right.
Even our dog, Sushi's food. My husband makes Sushi's food at home too. So Sushi gets
I,
cooked.
I believe it.
So Sushi goes and stands by his plate around 6 o'clock.
Waiting. What is
So,
going on?
like, hello, where's the food at? So
Yeah.
I think that once with children, especially when you're raising them, repetition is good. A schedule is good. It keeps certain traditions alive, and yeah. So we
Yeah.
try to eat unless something else is happening. Like last week we were going to theater, we went to a play, and we had to be there by a certain time. So we adjusted and went and or ate earlier. But most of the time,
Right.
we're very strict about that because a bunch of things
That's
could be
your time.
happening to disrupt that family schedule. But we have made a decision that our family is the most important. So unless
Right.
it's something like really big or something that we're still doing together, we ain't going to deviate. We're not deviating from centering the family. That's how we look at it.
Right. No, definitely, definitely. And in this chat so far, we've talked a little bit about conditioning or mentioned it in the sort, and you've spoken in your work about unlearning societal rules. What's a belief, if you can think and share with us, a belief you inherited that you had to let go of? It probably be more than one, but one you're willing to share in order for you to become who you are today.
Child, these gender norms, like these gender roles. So let's
Yeah.
stay in the topic. Um,
Yes.
the belief that I I tell my friends literally, and I can share this obviously because it's funny, but it's true. I had to let go of the
Mhm.
shackles of like cooking every day and washing the dishes of like traditional gender roles of like, being a housewife or whatever that meant.
Mhm.
Um,
Being
and
domesticated.
yeah, the domesticated. So I don't like to give advice about like folks will, my husband and I've been together for 20 years. Folks will ask, oh my God, how do you do it? We do it by our own rules. So I think
Mhm.
like we have our rules, our family rules that work for us. I think it's very important for everyone to establish their own family rules. And so
Right.
in our family, we don't have gender roles, you know. And so we believe in lifting up the strength of each family member. Like whatever it is that
Mhm.
you are passionate about. But let's be real, ain't nobody passionate about no cooking or cleaning but ultimately we all live in this house and we all have to take care of this home that we have together.
Right.
And so for example, I don't like to iron. So my husband irons our clothes whenever needed be. I
Needed.
I love to do laundry, so I'm doing our laundry. I'm folding because I get to
Mhm.
be in front of the TV watching my true crime shows, and I'm folding because I'm like, yes, girl, yes, and I'm folding. Oh my God, no, you didn't. But it's getting folded. That's me.
The
Um,
worst part is having to walk away to put it away, right?
oh, it's gonna have to wait, honey. That
Yeah.
is gonna have to wait because the show's so good. So So, he loves to cook. He handles
Yeah.
that. Um, our daughter loves to put dishes away. She says that that's her moment. She puts her headsets on. She cleans the kitchen. That's
Mhm.
her thing. Our son takes care of the dog and takes out the garbage. That's his ministry. So everybody has a role in the family based on what they are least likely to hate. Not that
Yes.
they
Exactly.
you know not that they love it, but they're like, yeah, I don't mind doing this, but that's how we get the house to be a home.
Together to be a
So we
home.
don't, yeah,
Right.
gender roles. I had to, free myself from the shackles um of
So
that.
I think that's important that the way you're framing it, right? That you had to free yourself. The change has to come with the switch in your own behaviors and acceptance and unlearning to relearn versus which I see sometimes is like, no, the man has to do this, or it has to be 50-50. If I'm cooking, you got to wash the dishes. And so, like, nothing, I think, in marriage is 50-50. Let's be honest.
Nothing. And
Yeah.
whoever's
So,
telling you that, and both you and I are in the game. So
yeah.
this whole thing about 50-50, no, that's just unrealistic. And when people talk about mothering or parenting being like it's a balancing act, no, it's a juggling act. I don't call it a
Because there's no
balancing
such
act.
thing as balance.
No,
But that's a
no.
whole nother conversation in itself.
Ciao, ciao. No, there's no, I call it juggling because you're literally trying to keep things
Yes.
afloat. Like all of those things are happening. And so, it's, and part of I'm gonna say this real quick. You know what inspired my master's
Mhm.
thesis on women and development in Cape Verde? It was the fact that I had to make rice and eggs for my dad.
Mm.
And I'm gonna tell you why. So
Which,
when I was
in today's age, that's the best meal.
correct,
But go ahead.
correct.
Yes.
It is, but it's a problem when you do not like eggs, like me.
Yes.
So when I was a teenager, and everybody in my family knows, I do not like the smell of eggs. I don't eat eggs. I'll
Okay.
eat eggs. I'm not allergic. I eat cakes and things that are made out of eggs, but the smell of eggs sends
Yeah.
me. Like since Cape Verde, I've never, me and eggs we don't go way back. So as a
Mhm.
teenager, my mom like basically trying to force me to make my dad eggs,
Mhm.
couves, crumulets, carrosh, and all of that. And it was a big to do in my house because I refused. And I
Mm.
said, and and the key word here is I'm a teenager. So I'm a teenager. Um, I'm at the time I'm going to an all girls school in Providence, Rhode Island, the Lincoln School, because I got a full
Mm,
scholarship to go to the Lincoln School after I went to Joseph Jenks Junior High School. So I'm there and they're teaching me how to stand up for myself and be a woman
mm.
and spelling women with a Y, WOMYN, because there's no men in women. Like the radicalism, the white liberal feminism was like just crazy. So I'm learning
Raw.
all these things and I'm 16 and it's like, yeah, I am woman, hear me roar. And I go home and my mother's like, you got to make rice and eggs for your dad. I said, the heck I am.
So no, I will not.
I will not. And I didn't. And I got in trouble. Oh my gosh. I didn't make the eggs because I don't like the smell of eggs. If I hadn't made the eggs, I'd have been in the bathroom getting sick. So,
Yeah,
and that sparked the question, why do I have to make eggs for my dad?
yeah.
Why can't he
Because you
make
know it
eggs
was
for
a
himself?
gender. So,
You know, your dad is working hard and did it. I said, and I get that, mom, but I don't want to have to get sick because I'm in the kitchen and I'm going to get sick. You know, and
yeah,
so why do I have to like literally compromise and sacrifice myself?
a
And so
sacrifice.
that sparked that's my earliest memory of, oh no, we're not doing this. Like women are we're women we're better than this. We don't have to do anything we don't want to. That's my earliest memory of
Mm-hmm.
wanting to just dismantle the patriarchy and setting, saying enough to gender roles, like because I'm the daughter or because I'm the child or because I told you to, this is what you have to do. These are a few of the memories, of initial memories that sparked the gender roles and the gender studies in me that led me to when I go to college, I'm going to write this, this, and this. And that's where that came from. My master's thesis was inspired
Yeah,
by that moment.
yeah, yeah. It fueled that fire for you.
Yes, it
So
did.
that's beautiful that you took that. You're taking that challenge and even disappointment, but turning it into power, right? And turning it into something productive. And I'm sure there's tons of ways that you can share how you're doing that in your work. So let's talk a little bit about success, right? And how we
Yes.
define success. Society often defines success fairly narrowly. How have you rewritten those rules of success as a Black woman in academia, activism, or just in your
In
personal life,
general.
even?
What a great question. And it's one of my favorite topics to talk about, particularly with my students and people, younger people that I mentor, because I think social media is just doing a number on us, especially younger people, because I think for us that are older, we might have more of an idea of who we are and who we want to be and what
Mm,
our boundaries are, right? But I think for younger people, even for folks in their 20s, when they see a particular image of what success looks like or they think
right.
it is, it might make them feel some kind of way. Oh gosh, I'm not as successful as I think I am. I'm not doing enough. But I think defining what success is to you is one
Mm-hmm.
of the most important questions that you can ask. Um, I think that I'm a very successful person and I'm very pleased with my success, not because of the degree or the job that I have, um, but because of how I've defined success. I define success as living life in my own terms,
Mm,
being content, being happy with the life that I have right now, not, the life I wish or um,
mm-hmm.
every time that I pull out of my garage, backwards and I look at my home or my house, I say, I offer gratitude. I say, I'm so grateful for this home that I've created with my husband and our children. And success for
Mhm.
me is defined by, living the life that I want in my terms. And what does that look like? Um, I've been able to I've been able to just be free to say, this is when I'm going to work. This is when I'm going to sit on the couch and watch TV. So the freedom, the independence to choose where I'm going to be and where I'm going to spend my time. The freedom of movement, for example, saying, I'm going to go on vacation, okay? Or I'm going to Cape Verde, or I'm going to go sit at the coffee shop. Those are things that are very important to me. So, and I owe part of this to my mentor who asked me the question. He said, you know, in choosing a profession or whatever it is that you want to do with your life, don't choose the profession first. Ask yourself, what kind of life are you trying to live?
Mhm.
Like, what do you want your day to day to look like? So I took out my journal and
Mhm.
I wrote about what does a day to day, what does a perfect day for Terza looks like, right? And it was a very soft living, sitting at coffee shops and beaches, and it had nothing to do with work. And these days I've been saying I don't dream about work. People ask me, "Oh, what
Yeah.
is your dream profession? What dream job?" I say, "I don't dream about job.
Yeah.
I'm not dreaming about no job." That's capitalism talking to you. Capitalism tells you that you always have to be producing, right? And
Mhm.
and I've bought into that message long enough, and I say no more. I
Mhm.
think that I destroyed my mental health a lot in my 30s, buying into that idea that I needed to be producing, producing, producing. As I'm talking to you right now, there's a sticker on my laptop that reads, "Your worth is not defined by your productivity." It's right here,
Mm.
and it reminds me to get off this laptop when I need to.
Yeah.
um, because my worth is not defined. Like, I am who I am, not because I'm Dr. Lima-Neves or I'm a professor. Those things don't define me. It's how I'm feeling, how I make others that I love feel, how others make me feel. So I think it's important that we sit with ourselves and define success for ourselves, and don't and not copy somebody else's idea. Like, for example, as I'm sitting here explaining this to you, maybe my idea of success doesn't work for somebody else. And so don't listen to me. But if
Yeah.
there's one thing that I do want you to listen to, is make sure that you're sitting down and defining success for yourself. And that's the version of success that you're catering to. Because you will be less disappointed in life and less resentful if your definition of success is the one that you're operating from.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so, yeah.
I'm sitting here and hearing you, and I'm fighting some feelings and thoughts that are coming to me, thinking about the catch up that we're playing in this race, you know. Um, and I think that's what tends to be right in front of us.
Yes.
That's keeping us on that hamster wheel.
Yes.
But then hearing you, I'm thinking, you know, we've got to be reminded that actually when we chase that um, that rest, or when we chase the maybe it's moderation in productivity, and because I'm torn between, like, listen, I'm trying to break the generational curses, and I can't do that in rest. But at the same time, without rest, I become non-productive and I'm moving nowhere fast. Right? So how do you talk to
Rest
me
is
about that
part
push
of
and
that
pull?
work.
It's
Rest
part of
is
the resistance, right?
rest is part of
It's
that
part of the
resistance.
hustle.
Yeah. So, because if you don't have your health, if you're not rested,
Yeah,
you can't do the resistance. So
exactly.
you have to figure out that balance for you. You can't be going, going, going. I mean, there's no way that I would, be where I am today professionally if I didn't hustle, right?
Mhm.
But what I'm saying right now is that I did it in a very unhealthy way, and I don't recommend that for anybody. Um,
So, and that's why I don't want people to like misinterpret um, your message, right? Because and you just named it right there, that it's not that you've got to hustle, but the way in which you're hustling is what you're saying you would have
the
done differently.
hustle has to be there. I've just
Because you can't
chosen
do
to
nothing
focus.
and expect
No,
something,
no. Rest doesn't
right?
mean do nothing, right?
Yep.
The rest as resistance doesn't mean do nothing. It means when your body's telling you you need to sit your butt somewhere, listen to your body,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Because without that, you can't go back out and hustle. Like I'm resting because I want to plan the best Poderoza conference yet. And so in the moments where, I have my signals that when my body tells me, girl, go sit down somewhere, right? I'm immunocompromised. So when my body starts, when I start feeling body aches, okay, so
Mm-hmm.
everyone knows when they're, you
There's
know,
signs.
so if you don't know what are the signs, I think we all need to learn to listen to our bodies and just sit and just like, okay, so these are the signs that, is it a headache? Is it constant body pain? Is it my legs hurting? Whatever it is, pay attention to your body because your body's
Mm-hmm.
telling you that you're working too hard, like you're going too fast and you're not resting enough. You have to have a balance of the two.
Yeah.
So it's not about rest, meaning don't do anything. It's knowing that
Yeah.
rest is part of the hustle.
It's part of the doing.
Yes,
I think part of the struggle that I was addressing is probably speaking to the lack of clarity in your vision and purpose,
correct.
which is why I think what your mentor anchored you in early on was so critical, right? Because that life, identifying your lifestyle versus what are you good at, what are you interested in, is a lot more targeted and sort of centers more purpose. That when you're doing things that are intentional and are going to help you move that needle,
Correct.
then you don't feel like you're spending so much. But
Correct. I think so. One of the things that I realized was extremely important to me was freedom, like
mm,
personal freedom,
like
right?
liberation,
Liberation, like my personal freedom. I wanted to be able to choose where I was going to
right?
be at, what time I was going to be there. I think I would say about 90% of the reason why I pursued a PhD because I
Mm-hmm.
watched my professor. I saw how he spent his summers. The first paper that I wrote and presented at a conference is because I was his um, work study student in undergrad. And we're sitting there and it's raining. We're sitting in his office, listening to jazz and thinking about what are we researching next. And I'm like, I'm bored. I don't know what to do. He's like, write a paper. I'm like, excuse me? Like who? It's the summertime. But I ended up writing a paper
Hey,
on,
brother.
internet in Cape Verde. I ended up presenting it at a national conference for political science that following year.
Beautiful.
And so I, the thing is, I ended up working that summer, but it was on my terms, and it was on
Yeah.
something that I was passionate about, like internet development, internet progress in Cape Verde. I ended up
Yeah.
going to Cape Verde for like a month to go do the research and doing all of that, but it was on my terms. It was, so it wasn't busy work. So I think
Right. It was purpose work.
when we purposely sit down and say what is important to me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so to me, and also what's going to allow me to, being a mom is very important to me, like having the flexibility to be there for my children, the freedom, if one of them was to call me from school right now and said, Mom, I need you to pick me up because I'm not feeling well. I don't have the
Right.
stress, right? But I also have to mention that I do recognize the privilege that exists in that.
Yeah.
So let me talk about that privilege,
Yeah.
Not
That privilege. Yeah.
everybody, not everybody has access to that.
Yeah.
And so I'm sympathetic to that. And I always give gratitude to be able to have this privileged life because I know most people don't have it, right? I know that
Mm-hmm.
when I think about the life that my parents had, my dad worked the graveyard shift at a factory. My mom was,
Mm-hmm.
was cleaning the rooms at the Rhode Island hospital. And so, and she couldn't just pick up and just go. And so I
Right.
understand the privilege that is in this conversation that we're having. And I don't take it
Yep.
for granted. And I think that's why I'm very intentional about doing it, because my parents worked their butt off so that I could be in this
Have these
space.
choices.
Right.
Yeah.
And to live this level of freedom that I have today. So I do think my community, I'm very thankful to my community, particularly to my parents for this.
Part 2 with Dr. Terza Lima-Neves and Redefining Success, coming to you soon.